Guys, my name is Oshun the Great, and welcome back to my beautiful channel. Another topic that I wanted to talk about briefly today is about owning your personal light, but with protection, and also owning your intuition with conviction. And a lot of this is brought on today because I consume a lot of murder mysteries, and I learn a lot about how people can protect themselves more or read situations and places and things better. And a lot of what comes up a lot of times, especially for women, is the dating scene right now. My last video, I touched on that there's been a decrease, it seems like, in empathy since the pandemic. And I think all of that bleeds into our society and our behavior, like our behavior problems. And if we have a society that has like a lack of empathy right now, that's gonna bleed into our like dating culture and everything. And there is this huge scene of like scarcity mindset or desperation even, and all that mixed together is just not a good thing, especially for the dating scene. I think a lot of the way men approach women is via resentment because they honestly don't really want women to be able to choose and have autonomy and things like that. So it's just a mess right now. But watching videos of where women are basically being baited or um, killed because of certain things, I just wanted to talk on briefly why it's important to own your intuition. First of all, a lot of our intuition in this generation, especially under patriarchy and predators and all these isms, people don't want you to believe in yourself or your intuition. And I'm telling you to do it anyway. That's your gut feeling, your knowing and not knowing why you know, but you do. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, there are circumstances in your life where you've proven to yourself that something was bad was going to happen or something played out exactly how you thought. And part of this influx of like conservatism in our lives right now is like teaching people to give their power away, whether it's to like religions, authority, or systems. But no, the main thing is forming a really strong personal relationship with yourself to where you trust yourself wholeheartedly, and that's going to save you from a lot of bullshit. A lot of your feelings of people, places, and situations that don't feel right, is your body and your mind and soul and spirit is gonna tell you all the time. And so I'm saying believe your intuition every single time. I don't care if it looks crazy to yourself or others. You're always getting signals, especially like whole body signals, a lot of the times. And you don't have to explain to anyone because, again, a lot of the evil that happens in the world is like, if you fall into a trap that evil sets, it's gonna blame you. Like, it's your fault that you fall into a trap. So it's wise to learn to trust yourself. So, for example, in a town I just came from, there was a lot of jealousy dynamics happening, and some jealous woman invited me to camping, and it just didn't work out because I already knew they didn't like me. But you have to be vigilant about things like that, to where there's potential setups and things like that. Or even with men, this documentary that I watched recently was like she went out with a very like, I guess, a guy, he had a rich dad, and people are putting two and two together that like a lot of people don't have value for life because, especially rich people, it's said that they get bored and they just start harming people for whatever. The same thing when people go to Dubai and try to get more money. But these people don't give a fuck about life and things like that. And so just being aware and vigilant at this time and researching and learning how people are interacting these days. And the main thing is awareness, and then again self-trust. And again, there's been a decrease in empathy, so that means people who have a light have to protect themselves more, and you can't move like you used to, maybe, um, things like that. So it might mean that you have to fuck with being lonely sometimes in order to protect yourself. um, Even protecting others, trust your instincts. And what else? For a long time, I feel like we had a society where it doesn't want to admit that it's a spiritual warfare of light and dark. And so we have a lot of people who have a light and they get attacked all the time because they have a light. And it gets very dangerous when you don't admit you have a light. It's not egoic to admit you have a light, and you have to admit it so that you can protect yourself. And again, when we talk about setups or jealous friends or power dynamics, you need to know how you affect people every day and why they want to be around you. It's not always monetarily. Again, it's a lot of about the light you carry. And so, um, what else? Yeah, you have to know, because there are a lot of people. Just because there's just how there's people with light, there's people who are actively causing chaos and destruction, and so you don't want to get caught in that crossfire or to be a lamb in a wolf's den, so forth. So, own your light. It's not egoic. Um, Protection, research, study how the current social climate is in the world. Study. If you're a marginalized person, you need to be reading or studying videos or people's stories to see how to move in the world, to understand prey and predator dynamics, all of that shit. I know it sounds crazy, like we get ready for war, but you're already in it. And intuition, conviction. Again, especially in a spiritual sense, because we're more conservative right now, they're gonna be gaslighting the fuck out of indigenous knowledge or knowledge that doesn't have proof. But indigenous knowledge and your gut instinct and everything has always been, solid in its own right. It's not about proving anything. Your proof is that you're alive in these systems. And yeah, so yeah, again, this is brought up mainly because of dating scene, and even there's been an influx of friends setting up friends, especially with women, male centered women setting up their friends, men feeling bitter, all kind of stuff. So you just have to be vigilant and aware. And what else? Admit you have a light. It's not sinful or anything. Um, Remember that this world is meant to confuse, and so up is down, down is up, kind of thing. And if people think you're moving funny, that's on them. So like, yeah, like for me, I've been a loner for my whole life. It's like I naturally have this like feeling meter of like what people think and feel, and if certain interactions will be worth it. And I'm not perfect because I still have to unlearn a lot of conditioning. Like recently, seeing a few clips of Ryan Coogler's like Katrina documentary, it made me really, really strip off my naivety around authority and the good guys. For example, when there's a disaster, a lot of the military was like essaying and unaliving um, the people, and so it just changes your perspective and heightens your intuition when you know how people move, and there's no like sugarcoating our lies around it. And so, yeah, stuff to think about. And I will post more videos about that. I do feel like one of my callings in life is to like teach people how to use their intuition, and I'm learning every day myself to have conviction and to trust myself and to not just fall into like emotional traps. This world, when you lead with empathy, people think it's weak, and so you can't let your emotions be used against you. Sometimes we can't help it to slip up because it's a human trait, and there's just narcissists and shit like that. But the more you learn and you grow and understand, sometimes the quicker you can get out of certain dynamics, even. But yeah, the whole point, because right now is very prevalent murder mystery culture. um But for me, I'm trying to make you not become content. I know people enjoy this content, murder mystery content, but me is like prevention of you becoming a statistic and a number. And so whether that's because you're oppressed or because you're marginalized or because how people see other folks in a dehumanizing manner, it's not to say that it's all on the victims or the oppressed, but I think honestly, the more you understand things and self-preservation, the more you can move in the world. Like for example, when you live under barbarism, it makes no sense to follow the rules because you're just walking to your death chamber. And so stuff like that. If you can minimize this bullshit, then that's the point. And obviously resisting goes on top of this and everything, and being proactive in many other ways too helps. But the main thing is like, how can you bring value back to life and to yourself and to your gifts? Even another video eventually I'll touch on how celebrity culture and putting our attention outward is stripping us from our abundance and our autonomy, and taking away all our wealth energetically, mentally, spiritually, because we're tying it up in just like all these external rituals and everything. But yeah, till later.